I'm going to open the meeting to continue the meeting from our last scheduled meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to meet with the Berkeley Group and start the process for the hiring of the new county administrator. At this time, I'd like to welcome Mr. Doug Walker from the Berkeley Group and Mr. Kenneth Vinton. They are going to help us get through this process. You should have got an email last week to give you a heads up on some of the questions that were coming and the process. I met with them Thursday, kind of got a heads up on the process, but same as what y'all got. Mr. Mike, we just heard Mr. Morris is tied up. He will call in here shortly, but we do have a quorum enough we can start the process. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Berkeley folks.
Very good.
And we'll move on.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Board members, really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm Doug Walker with the Berkeley Group. With me is Ken Vittum. We'll introduce ourselves so you kind of know a little bit about our background, which might or might not be helpful to your understanding of the perspective that we bring and bring to you in context of helping you try to find your next county administrator. I did send out information last week. Really, that's just so that you're aware of what this meeting is about. There was no expectation that you were doing anything with it in advance, other than if you had a chance to kind of read it, then that could be helpful. But there was no homework assigned to that. We'll go over all that today. In that, the questions we'll kind of go through. The answer to those questions are really going to help us to create the profile. We sent a sample of a profile. It was from the town of Buchanan. And normally I would send you one from that Berkeley Group is done from a county, but Ken and I just finished Buchanan and we were working together. And so I thought that was a good example of what you can expect in terms of the quality of the product. And we thought it turned out really well. The process for them turned out really well. They were delighted. So again, we have a lot of confidence going in that we can work with the county board supervisors and help you develop a marketing piece that is then going to translate into attracting qualified candidates to put you in the position, which is the hard part of selecting, we hope, from some group of qualified candidates. We make your job hard for you. We think that that's a pretty good thing. That means that we've been successful in trying to attract quality local government professional managers. And then you then kind of have the responsibility to kind of see how that fits with where Amelia County is and where you think of Amelia County is going to go. So I'm going to talk a little bit at the beginning, it's kind of walking through some of the pieces that I shared with you by email last week. Before I do that, just a little bit about me. Again, Doug Walker, I currently work with Berkeley Group. I retired last year as a deputy county executive in Albemarle County. I spent 10 years there. Prior to that, I was a county administrator in Shenandoah County. I also worked as the city manager of Waynesboro for about 5.5 years. As a deputy county administrator in Spotsylvania County. And then I started in the peanut fields of Southampton County, beginning my career. You put all that together, it's about 33 years of local government management. 5 very, very different local governments with different boards, elected officials, different interests, all in Virginia. So again, 33 years later, I feel like I'm in a good position to use that and do other things. And what I have chosen to do working with Berkeley Group is to help elected bodies find talent to help them accomplish their goals. And so that's what I do. So Ken introduce himself here as well.
Ken Vinton, I'm living in Giles County, Virginia. Have 5 years in Norris, Tennessee, a small playing community, TVA community, and then moved up to Harrisburg and was there for just under 30 years as their town manager. So about 35, 36 years total. All in towns, rural communities. I would, if I was a younger person, I'd be very interested in Amelia County because I got into town management when they told me all roads led to Richmond, and I just didn't want to go to Richmond. So I found a different way to be able to stay in a more rural economy and had a great career.
So, whether that's good or bad in this context, it's hard to say. It's just not our first rodeo. And so we hope to be able to bring that experience into your advantage. We'll be managing the process, but we're, if you have any questions to go through, obviously, we want to make sure that you get answers to those questions. But we're working for you. You, in this case, is the board supervisor, work for the board. And so we want to make sure that you're comfortable with putting you in the best position to make what, as you know, is a very important decision about your next county administrator. As you evaluate the candidates that we bring forward, again, if I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, some of this may be overly obvious, but I'm doing my script, so I'm going to say them anyway. They're going to be evaluating you as well, to the extent that they have access to what records that you have online, whether it's your budgets or your minutes, newspaper coverage, whatever. The candidates are going to be kind of checking that out. And so it's just an awareness, the extent to which that you can put your best foot forward, not that you don't have two best feet. You are who you are, and so, yeah, but it's just an awareness that that you will be scrutinized, particularly kind of at this point going forward with candidates who are trying to figure out whether Amelia County is a good fit for them. We would recognize that, particularly as former local government managers, that every individual local government official has their own point of view, and that's great. That's the way that our local communities work. It's the way democracy works, and we want to celebrate that. To the extent then, though, that there can be consensus, we would urge you to kind of seek it, look for some consensus, particularly around who you want to be your chief administrative officer, going to have to work for all five of you individually and collectively, kind of going forward. How that plays out, we'll just have to see as the process goes. It may be that, in closed meeting, there's some sense that in an open meeting, there's unanimous vote, but we want to get you to a place where you are comfortable as a board voting unanimously to hire your next county administrator. That sends a real strong message to that person. It sends a strong message to your staff, and it sends a strong message to your community that you are working together and collaborating together for the welfare. Again, I say that recognizing that, it's not normal that everybody thinks exactly the same. So I wouldn't expect that to be the case in Amelia County as well. A change at the top is stressful for employees. Again, I'm not trying to suggest you don't already know that, but it's just worth acknowledging that employees don't know what the future holds. And the lack of knowledge, is a lack of awareness creates anxiety. And anxiety is stressful. And so anything that you can and think you should do to try to help alleviate their concerns, I'm sure will be greatly appreciated by your staff. Extra attention, I'm sure the clearance are going to play a real strong role in here. Just acknowledging that perhaps extra work, and you also have some other positions that are unfilled. So you may have staff that are doing some double duty that I'm sure would appreciate a little bit of an extra pat on the back. It's just something to carry you through. So change will come, and hopefully will be positive, but in the meantime, it can be pretty stressful. Confidentiality is very important to the process, and this is great to have these conversations with open meeting. At the point that we start talking with board members around individual candidates, we will be in closed meeting. And we are strongly urging confidentiality. It's good for the process, but it's particularly good for those candidates that you're interested in. Many of them, most of them, maybe all of them, already have jobs and are looking to perhaps move from one place to another. And so if in fact that news gets out that they're looking to leave, that can really make it difficult from where they're coming from. And so we urge confidentiality for that reason. I will be the point of contact for everything having to do with the Berkeley Group side of the process. Ken and I share everything. But I'll be the central point of contact. My inclination is, and my position will be, if I told otherwise, is that I'll use the chair as point of contact with board supervisors, but I will send everything that comes from us will go to every board member. And so that every board member will get every piece of communication at the same time. I think this keeps everything that's kind of light. So, and no disrespect, but point of contact as a whole, they gets access to the information.
Yep.
And then I'll be looking to Clarence, which is logistical role, very helpful with making sure that we are doing our process steps on the county side well. And I just introduced to Jamaica, so we'll make sure that we're checking all the HR boxes as well. There may be some that we're not automatically aware of. From a process standpoint, want to make sure we're doing that correctly. I know your county attorney as well, worked with him for a number of years. So we know how he's great, but you're in really good hands. So I feel really good about that. Thing with it, when we get to the point of reference and background checks, which won't be until after you select who you want to interview. That's another time when you may know a candidate, or you may know where they're coming from and know a person over there you want to call and ask. We really encourage you not to do that. Because if you loose lips, sink ships kind of thing, it's a hard time saying, but you know what I mean, is that it's so easy for that information to get out. And so again, and we'll talk about this again, we really urge you just to kind of just let us 5 + 2, and then we'll, just kind of keep this process here. And so that we're doing the best we can, kind of keep confidentiality. That's good for everyone. That's what I have, which I have on the opening comments. So you also received the recruitment profile development kind of questions. And this is the meat of our work today. This ties to the example of the profile that you saw was sent out from the town of Buchanan. Because the answer to these questions, along with other information that we have access to, your comp plan, we have your job description for your county administrator. We have access to budget and other information, but we'll use your information today, along with that information, to put together a unique marketing piece that is going to speak to candidates to tell them, each of them, what you're about, what you're looking for, what your aspirations are for Amelia County. So you're putting yourself and them in the best position when it comes time for us to evaluate first, and then for you to evaluate that there's a way to kind of go, do they fit the profile or not? So, it's very often that when I get into conversations with candidates, they'll go, well, what does the board of supervisors really want? And I will 100% of the time will say, read the profile. I'm not going to go and guess what you want, because you've already said what you want in the program. Okay? And so there's some sense that they have some inside knowledge that I don't have. And so it's really key in this case for us to take what knowledge you have to put it here, because I'm not going to try to make it up for candidates. I'm going to tell them to read the profile. And then if they come for an interview, they can ask you themselves what you really want. My guess is it's going to be a lot about what you've already said in the profile. So it'll be a good process in that sense. So this is a good time. I'm just going to just kind of lead into this and just ask these open questions. And the more you just kind of just, Mr. Chairman, I don't have there's no format here. It's just asking the questions and then seeing what kind of comes out.
That's fine.
And then we'll take it all down. You'll see the draft. And then you'll see a final draft. You'll see it twice. And so if we get something wrong or don't get something exactly right, there's at least 2 opportunities for some quality control from your standpoint before we finalize it and advertise it. We'll go over the schedule of all that in a little bit. And so with the prompted questions, I'll just start with, you're the ones who know best about what is special about Amelia County that you think that we should be telling these prospective candidates. Again, these are the things that in language would show up in the profile when we start kind of writing down what is special about the county?
I got a few things. One thing is our small town feel. A lot of citizens do feel they enjoy the small town feel of Amelia has. You know, at 13,000 residents, it is small compared to our neighbors. But with that, that could also be one of the things that hinders us also. But I think that's a good part of the county. We're a big, strong agribusiness, whether it be grains, crops, timber, cattle, livestock. We're a strong agricultural county.
We're also a neighboring community to Richmond. Plus our location is, from a lot of folks I know, saying y'all are halfway between the mountains and the ocean. Ideal location for the people who like to go to both.
I totally agree with Dexter, as well as to not far to DC for tourism and those things. I mean, the Central Virginia area, I like the rural nature that David mentioned, but as Dexter said, the bedroom nature, the job market around here, not necessarily in Amelia, but in the surrounding counties and Richmond itself. So you've got all those amenities that may not be in Amelia, but they're not far. I think that history is the other immediate thing that comes to my mind, you know, with the Civil War history and any buffs for that and Revolutionary War. There's tons of things like that. Park systems surrounding us with state parks in multiple of the counties around. Do plenty of tourism related events, activities.
Low crime.
Yeah, great one.
We have 2 stoplights. And the citizens are pretty much very welcoming and friendly. Mr. Mundy could swear to that one.
Absolutely.
Y'all hit everything else I had.
We're not that far from 2 major road systems. And the interstate highways aren't but 20 minutes down the road from us.
Yeah.
You can pick up the interstates. You know, right here, it's no time to get to the west end of Richmond or to Petersburg by way the highways are around here. Like I tell my wife, she wants to go to Walmart. I said, walk out the door in what direction you want to go today. And there's 20 minutes that direction almost.
So I've always been told we're 30 minutes from nowhere.
Yep.
And 30 minutes from everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So is the bedroom community aspect of your demographic changes, is that, do you see that as a plus, a minus, or probably both?
Probably
Both.
both. It's both.
Yeah.
I think the proximity to Chesterfield is great, but it's also a curse.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the people to have anything that Chesterfield got, but it's so close. The people in Amelia, it's within 30 minutes. It's just right out the door. So that's,
Yeah, it's definitely going to continue to come up when you talk about the challenges for sure. How do you balance those increasing? Some are needs, many are wants with reality.
Yeah, these are folks who move here from someplace else and want services that they enjoy someplace else.
Right, you want the small town and low taxes, but also everything else that you had
But they
before.
left.
But while you're still on the positives, though, we have a good, stable school system. I mean, it's not the top of the line in the state, but it's certainly well regarded. And I say stable. We've had good with the leadership. We don't transition, you know, every year or 2 years. It's a small school system, so it's easy to integrate new families into without children getting lost in that system. We also have alternatives close by. I've got several private school options of different sizes. We're close to 3 community college systems. So Southside, Bright Point, and John Tyler are all have multiple campuses around us. We're close to Farmville with Longwood. Got plenty of people, kids go here, can live here and still go to Longwood without having to even move. So
Haddam, Sydney.
yes, yes. We also go to some of the Richmond ones.
You're not far from VCU.
Richmond's not that far from here, neither now with the Beltway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of educational opportunities close by. And we have good partnerships with the community college systems particularly.
And in your leisure time, if you like hunting and fishing, we're in one of the best spots around.
Yeah. Dinwiddie Sports Park, the
Yep.
drag race.
We got drag racing just down the road, about 35 minutes from here.
Richmond Circle Track,
Yep.
Richmond International Airport.
Yeah, you're less than that's a good point. You're less, right at an hour to the
45 for an
international, depends on where you're on the county,
Yeah.
international airport. With the hunting and fishing, great points. We got the wildlife management area as well as many private and semi-public options too.
I'm going to add the Economic Development Authority. We've got a strong group of folks that work on that, and you can see some of our businesses that are coming into our industrial parks, and that, I think that's an asset. Add some jobs to Amelia.
List of those major businesses who recently come to me. Yes, I got this, I can try to capture that. Sure. Thank you.
And we have a lot of festivals, different kind of community events, starting in the early spring throughout the year. I think just about every month's got something going on, just about every month.
You can get
For
those
community
well,
event.
you may kind of pick some.
Yeah.
Just as a way of illustrating how
Oh,
active
but-
this community is.
Probably the top, if you want to cherry pick,
Yeah.
top 3 would probably be the Amelia County Fair, Field Day of the Pass, and Amelia Day. They're probably the biggest, like, recurring natural ones. But I think the staff could probably pretty easily pull you, like, in the past year, how many event permits we've approved. I mean, it's, I don't know, we're doing three to four a month. I mean, there's a lot of events occurring.
It's a lot of local activity. Then you
Yeah.
have the Lavender Festival, that's pulling people from all over the country.
Well, that's true. That's been growing like crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Fright Fest is pulling
Fright Fest,
people
it is
up and
too.
down the East Coast now. Yeah. It's just a tremendous number of events. Yeah. We have the space for events like that. That's the nice thing.
Most of the new homes that are being built in this county are not, what am I looking for?
Subdivision.
Well, they're more the middle to upper end housing. I mean, you just don't see no shacks being built. I don't know the right word for that, but
There's
it's
not starter
real
home.
nice home. Yeah, they're not
Starter.
starter homes. The majority of the housing in this county, we're looking at $300,000 to $700,000 houses. It's most of them. I'm just throwing that number out there, but it's pretty well nice houses being built.
You know, sure how to characterize that. It certainly would reflect an increase in the average home price.
Yeah.
Right, over
Yeah.
time.
Well,
I think
the point I'm trying to make is we want to keep the Mayberry atmosphere here, but we don't want the Green Acre houses here. It's your TV shows.
For a person coming in to be the county administrator, how is the available housing stock? Both rental and affordable for,
I would say,
Like-
I would say
like
very,
right now,
very low.
It's tight everywhere, but I mean, there are available. It's not like you can go out here and pick up 100 houses for sale in Amelia. You're not gonna see that.
But there is houses for sale.
Yeah.
Rental
There's
supplies
sometimes-
especially support is low, low, yeah. They can-
But that's, I mean, that's the convenience of having Chesterfield right there. They can rent something until you build or anything like that.
Oh, we haven't mentioned closest to Fort Lee,
Barfoot.
Barfoot, thank you. Change names.
Yeah.
because that's driving a lot of the
Yeah.
population.
Barfoot, that's called now, it's called now.
Yeah, West Fort Lee.
Barefoot or whatever. Well, it's
Yeah,
formerly
sorry.
Pickett.
Well, Lee changed.
But
too.
they had
Yeah,
so there's a lot of
Yeah, too many
opportunities
around.
in that area.
What's that one?
Cause I think that's the number one, I mean, national guard
Barfoot is.
Basin.
Yeah.
in Virginia, plus the Norfolk, all them down there use it constantly too.
Yeah, I mean, it's close enough, for example, that like, that's where the prom is held for our high school. I mean, like, that's at the officers club there.
Is there a residency requirement for the county
Yeah,
administrator?
I was thinking about it.
That I don't know. I meant to ask that too.
I think, yes.
Yeah, I've got that in after we get through this, so I'll go through some supplemental questions and I'll be asking that as well, so.
Well, if he was building a house and renting it up in Chesterfield, well, we know that he's planning on. That can be worked out.
Yeah, I think the question, what gets some guidance on from the board.
I'd say you want like a.
So priorities of the board for the next 3 to 5 years, this would be a longer term. The next question is, okay, priorities for the next 1 to 2 years. So I'm trying to kind of break this down into, and what are your, the longer view about, where you think the Amelia County ought to be both?
Well, we want growth, but we want the right kind of growth for our area, plus
Mhm.
control, not haphazard. And that applies to industry or housing.
Keep your rural lifestyle.
Yeah, because we don't want to lose no more farms than we have to, because unlike the solar people, they think they can eat them one day. You can't.
Like a diversifying tax base is part of that. So we have almost exclusively rely on taxes from individuals. We need that growth in businesses that, like Dexter says, don't eat up all, but that are in the right industries, in the right locations. We've identified along 360 as the development corridor, where that doesn't eat up as much farmland, bring that in, diversify the tax base.
Steady growth. We don't want to get stagnant and not have anything come in. We just want to study and
Keep taxes low,
plan growth.
provide the services that are necessary.
So along that services, we're very focused on growth of EMS, public safety. So let's just say growth of public safety. Like, for example, we're doing the major radio systems upgrade now. We're essentially converting most of our EMS from volunteer services to paid services.
You hire your own or you contracting?
We're doing,
Looking through,
yeah,
it's an evolution from
Yes.
contracting.
Yes and yes.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah. And I think I would add to that infrastructure. So for example, we're working toward replacing our animal control facility. Had to pause because some things, but a new facility for what's the school, vocational education.
CTE.
CTE, career and technical, thank you, career and technical education. Parks and Rec.
I think, don't want to leave out River Street. I mean, we are working towards
That's a great point.
broadband and internet access throughout the whole county. I'll emphasize the whole county.
Working with,
River Street.
River Street, is that the name of?
Yes, sir.
River Street. So we're under 2 years from broadband access to the vast majority of the county.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Well, let's see.
Yes,
It's a long time ago. Lots of.
Is that an affiliate with one of the co-ops? Don't think. It's,
They're based out of Wilkes-Barre, North Carolina. They're in several cities and counties. They did King and William and some other ones in Virginia. Yeah, we can get you more information, but
yeah.
it's pretty large.
Yeah,
They just bought our local TDS, like our local phone company thing, it is, and other things too, so.
This county's full of history. A lot of historical events and stuff. It's been through here, like you got Lee's Retreat Trail comes right through the center of this county, and actually, technically, the last battle of the Civil War was fought in this county.
Yeah.
And, we're proud of that history, and we got lots of places you can go and see some stuff on that. For people who like, it's not as easy now as it used to be, but used to when I was a kid, you could find Indian artifacts everywhere. Because this place was streams and stuff, everything led to the James River and all the way down, but it's stuff like that. If kids is into archaeology and stuff, just that nature, we got something around. We got a rock mine, quarry. I don't know, they open up once a year or did they quit?
Just done.
It's
I
quit,
think they're open to it.
but,
Did we recognize Indian nations with the presence here?
No,
no, I don't, I think it is. I don't know that.
no formal.
Yeah. Issues, challenges, opportunities, projects, and some of them may already be mentioned, so I'm not trying to kind of plow old ground. But that the county administrator in particular, that you would be expecting her or him to address within the next 1 to 2 years. Is that kind of a shorter time frame? But I've heard that, it's kind of a longer view.
That's just the.
Walking in the door, what are you gonna want that person to do?
I would say finance.
That was my number one too.
Just because, well, a number of reasons, but mainly we haven't had a finance director in probably 6, 8 months, and we found some issues with that. That would probably be if I had to pick one, let's settle that out. Let's get that fixed.
Do you think that you will hire the finance director by the time your town administrator is hired or not?
Probably
I
not.
would
They say
hope.
they're hard to get.
They are hard to get.
I don't think it's easy for us to predict. We will
Okay.
not sacrifice finding the right person for speed.
That's fine.
It's currently being pursued.
It is, okay, so you're not intentionally waiting.
No.
New candidate.
Definitely not.
If we find the right person with the
Are
board
you looking?
continued support, we would hire the person.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be the right fit, if that believes, so.
Very good.
It's not just finding the person, it's transforming the functions, the process, better documentation, all of that. Modernize, maybe that's a good word to use, modernizing the functions. Is that a fair statement?
Is Benji not with us?
He is, he's by phone. He's muted, he's got a lot of background noise, he don't want to distract us, he said.
So he's not with us.
Yeah, we'll ask you about attributes here in a minute, but it sounds like that, county administrator who has a financial background might be of interest. to the
Oh, yeah.
board as well.
That'd be a major plus.
That would be
Yeah.
huge.
It's major.
And some community development. We're without that position also. Right now, we're using the Berkeley group to answer questions, but
Economic also,
no,
I like that one, Dexter. I think that,
economic also.
yeah, economic development would be enormous.
Cause I know we're gonna have growth pains in the future.
And
We can't help that, it's coming.
you have professional staff focused specifically on economic development, or you use your EDA, IDA for that?
EDA.
So the county administrator would.
Yes, he would interact with those.
Liaison with the EDA.
Correct.
Are you currently pursuing to also fill that community development role, or is that one that you're?
That one we think we can hold off and hire.
Yeah.
Hold off and hire until after that one's doing fine with the Berkeley group support. I think we can hire that one after the county
You can see
administrator.
that we would package this up and the information goes out, and hey, they're actively looking for a new finance director. They also need a community development director, but are likely going to wait for the county administrator.
Correct.
So candidate kind of coming in has a perspective on what that.
And it could be those two positions aren't that far apart. They are different. But maybe a community development that has a background in that would help us transition to that new position.
Mary Beth has her hands.
Oh, yeah.
So if we're gonna capture top three issues, finance, economic development, community development. You would want, and we should come in and start focus on that. So the finance being top.
Probably so.
Challenges, specific challenges. Things that keep you up at night,
Other than all this,
besides the rain.
I was, other than all we've already mentioned in this, I mean, finances.
I mean, if you only got one, that's not that, I mean, I'm not saying that your financial situation.
No, I'm just saying it outweighs all the, I'm not saying there's only one. I think it just I'm only speaking for myself. I think it just personally outweighs all, and it feeds into all of them. Like it feeds into the EMS problem, it feeds into the community development, to the economic development. It just,
If you can't get the finances straight, you can't get the things straight.
right. You can't commit to any of these other projects if you don't have confidence. Period.
So it is as much about systems, processes, procedures, as it is about just having a budget that allows you to do all that you want to do. Because you're always gonna have that problem.
Right.
You're never gonna be able to have.
It's all about the process and the methodologies and all that. Yeah, the confidence piece. Yeah, we can, I think if we.
The budget's not the issue.
If we had confidence in what was given to us, you can make decisions.
Yeah.
If you don't have confidence in what's given to you, you don't know how to act. You don't know what decision, you can't trust your own decisions then.
I think we got plenty of projects
Oh,
to do.
Yeah.
There's no lack of projects. There's the finances, you don't want to commit unless you know you can commit.
I mean, we're swinging from years of coming in way under budget, coming in way over budget, because the projections are all just inconsistent. Sometimes for a variety of reasons.
Makes it difficult to make informed decisions if you are unconfident in the information you have.
Right, and ultimately the citizens then either you don't move forward with projects that you didn't know you could afford, but you really can, or you're moving forward with something that you thought you could afford and turns out you can't. I mean,
Do you have improved, capital improvements plan?
we do have an approved, yes, we
Yeah.
do. It
Is it realistic?
is as realistic as it can be, given all those other things. We just said, we keep having to adjust, of course.
I haven't heard this mentioned. He needs to have people skills
No, that's a good one.
because he is gonna meet such a variety of different people and gotta deal with them. And some of it is such crazy off the wall stuff that you're wondering what planet they come from,
Yeah, yeah, it is.
right?
I've got several questions around, okay, now what's the first thing?
He's gotta be able to give and take and bite his lip real good, you know, I got a spot right there I can show you.
You're talking to three experienced managers, that have stars. Compare.
Yeah,
We're gonna talk about, you know, okay, this is about, okay, what's the person gonna experience when they come here? And what do you want that person to kind of be, have in their mind? We're going to pivot in a minute and go, okay, now, what kind of individual?
Yeah.
Because you think it's gonna be successful.
because certain people go in there, you know, your first impression is a very lasting impression of a person. And if they don't click, we gonna hear about it big time.
Right. Yeah, and nobody's perfect.
No, nobody's perfect.
But professionals do have things.
Although I've met a couple who said they were.
Well, I think the county's forgiving, for one thing. I think they're very understanding about things, which I think helps.
It's a reasonable group of
Yeah.
people.
Well, the fact that your previous indicators here for 12 years will say a lot to candidates who are looking for stability. It's a tough business, as you know. Government's tough, community building's hard. and helping the local officials is hard. So a 12-year stint for a county administrator is not, that's beyond the average.
Oh, yeah.
So, I would expect that managers will look at that, and look at that as a real asset. Thinking that they can actually come and be successful. Doesn't mean that it plays out that way, right? There's no guarantee, but in terms of trying to, we would accentuate that in the profile of the fact that you see yourself as stable, and they would be looking for something that is stable.
Well, similarly, I think you could point to the number of years for the elected constitutional officers as well. It's a very stable, it's a stable government in general.
Yeah.
It's not that term.
No. And those are, to Dexter's point, those are very critical relationships. Talking about relationships with the constitutional officers, definitely one that's incredibly important.
There are good managers who right now in not very stable situations and might look for an opportunity to make a change. So yeah, don't know, but we're just trying to position it so you get the best of all that. All right, your comp plan was, I think it was last approved in 2017. You amended it in 2019. It does have a vision statement in there. Is that vision statement, do you think, still current? That this was, well, now 5 years ago, pre-pandemic.
Yeah, it's going through an update
It
currently.
is going.
I would hope we would have something by first of the year.
Is that being done by your planning district commission?
Yes, sir.
First of the year, you think you'd have a draft?
I think so.
Has the planning commission got it yet? Or did they?
Planning Commission has had it. Last meeting, I heard they were ready to send the surveys out to the citizens to get the input back and start compiling.
Do you think the board will get it first of the year?
I'm hopeful.
So 2025. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know chew on and stuff, but
Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
all right, the basic qualifications for the candidates, this is education, experience. When I look at the job description, which may or may not be, what you might want, it talks about bachelor's degree, public administration, business management, or related, 6 years or more of experience in an administrative capacity in local government. So what you're saying is that person would be in some level of supervision in some local government, maybe Virginia, maybe not Virginia. This doesn't really give guidance on whether that's important to you. Or equivalent, but that's always equivalent. So I guess the question is bachelor's degree good enough? For a master's degree? Or would you be looking for someone who's a credential local government manager? There is the International City County Management Association offered credentialing. To some that is important, to others it is not. I'm not offering you an opinion on that. Ken was credentialed.
Here's what,
I was not.
I'll throw it out, I'll throw something out for argument. Bachelor's probably necessary, master's just would be a preference only, nice to have, let's call it nice to have. And the certifications is similar too, I think they would be a preference or nice to have, but I don't think we put that as, I don't think.
That's
That's
the
the.
typically use is word, and it doesn't.
And again, I say throw that up for discussion.
That's where I was leaning to, something,
It's a minimum. That's a starting point.
yeah. I think it ought to be in the business administration. We are, whether we want to or not, we are about a $50 million business,
There you go.
Right.
and
And if you want someone with
Finance.
finance, if
We
you want
need
someone-
finance,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll add that in,
Yeah.
financial administration.
Yep.
So.
And I still think Dexter's right on the point of the relationship, strong communication, relationship.
Yeah, the attributes is that's fast coming up, and you're right, that is very.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that's,
I
yeah.
don't want you to think that we're not gonna, it is extremely important. Right, so, the way that this is written, if you can hire whoever you want, but this is not speaking to someone who doesn't have experience in local government. Some local governments, want to consider folks who have private. I don't want to miss this opportunity to kind of ask you, you think that what you really need is someone that knows local government? Or would you be interested in considering somebody in the private sector?
I
I was-
personally would not rule out private sector
I wouldn't either.
at all. I mean, it depends on, I mean, I wouldn't want, you're managing the heat and air company. Okay, I'm gonna run in here and be the county administrator. No. But I mean, if you're working at Philip Morris or somewhere like that and you're watching over 100 people, that's a different ballgame to me. I don't think it has to be local government.
I've said something like or equivalent experience,
What we do is we put local government first. So that then kind of opens the door for consideration. What we don't want to do is be eliminating candidates.
Right.
Except where you think that we should. And so in this case, if we have someone who only has an associate's degree, we're probably not going to move them forward into a category that gets an interview. And you may, because you don't see all the people. That's kind of why we spend some time talking through this, because we want to kind of maximize your ability to kind of consider quality candidates, but also not waste anybody's time.
I would lean more towards county administration background. We're relatively a young board as far as terms, not really age, Dexter. But as far as experience on the board, I would lean more towards more experience in the business administration. That's my thoughts.
I agree with him too. I think lean toward that, but I like your point of not cutting it out and
We
where,
could say preferred, not a local government guy, and so.
Right. I think Todd said it right. You don't want to cut them out
Make
completely.
Transition, but it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to make that transition in the private sector. But some folks can do it.
I don't want to leave anything a chance, missing a good chance
No.
because of a word. I mean, I honestly, myself, if we had somebody that has done something, whether they had a bachelor's degree or not, I still would like to look at them. The piece of paper doesn't make you,
Who you are.
that's right. I mean, that's my opinion. But I don't want to rule anything out myself.
I'm with you on
And whoever we get, you'll see it, but we're going to scrutiny
Mhm.
based on the information that we have. Okay, that clear, we will show a preference for local, government, but not exclusive.
But there's gonna be so many people. Instead of going through the proper channels, I wanna go see the administrator. And that's what the folks in this county are used to. They should have went to Parks and Rec or something. No, they went to the administrator. Or the Public Works, they went to the administrator. And that's how they feel like they got their issue resolved is through the administrator. Like I said, we're not a city, we're small.
Right.
A little small town, and that's.
Right.
Way to-
And that administrator, of course, has to appreciate that he or she works for a 5-member board.
Right.
And so that being able to kind of walk a fine line there about, here's what authority I have, here's what authority I don't have. And so a lot of that comes to experience and
Yeah.
what you all decide, right, how you wanna divvy up.
Well, if you got administrator that you trust, that the board, he can make a decision, because sometimes it's gotta be a snap decision.
Sure.
He can't get it from the board. But we, as a board, have the confidence in him to know he did the right thing.
We'll sort of know if you didn't do the right thing.
Oh, he would in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Get evaluations, everything with that. Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. Anything else on that? I mentioned credentialing. I just don't have a strong feeling about it. I mean, you're.
Well, I would more. Would you give preference to someone who was in some of the professional organizations? Like the ICMA, the credential, and I took a long time before I became credentialed. Simply to show that somebody from a small rural could do it. I see it more as that person is committed to development throughout their career, that they will do a certain number of hours per year of professional
Continuing
development,
education.
continuing education, that type of thing. More so than meaning that I'm credentialed and he's not, I'm a better manager than he is, that's not the case.
And all things preferred there as well. Again,
Oh, I- Well, I definitely think it's only preferred at most, and that's why I said my words earlier, like, or similar, because I think you can demonstrate those attributes that you're talking about in other ways than necessarily certification. But I mean, I like the attributes of continuing to invest in yourself for the purpose of betterment of the community, the county, et cetera. But it doesn't always have to be through a certificate, even not happen like that, but.
Have y'all found in your previous searches that somewhat with military experience have a little bit of a heads up or a head start?
I'll think, we have your own experiences, like the private sector experience, it can go either way. So we've had some strong candidates with good military background, and they bring a certain set of qualities. Having worked in a team environment and having worked in a government structure, and it absolutely can translate. And I've seen that just in my professional experience with the previous county administrator of Urbana County, for example. Anyway, he became a great county administrator. Others struggle because of the command and control and the hierarchical nature of the military environment, paramilitary, or whatever, right? Where depending on what their experience is, they may be used to giving orders. And so somewhere in there, right, it's not, I know it's a squishy answer, but I think it's a squishy issue because it can translate very well. And then in other times, depending on the personality, it could lead to some, some attributes of individual. Yeah, so I tend to, I like talking to those who have military background, get a sense of, where they were. Because depending on what their experience was, they may not have been in a place where they're used to giving orders. And I just don't think, frankly, from my experience, the person in the county administrative role should be giving orders. I think it's a lot more complicated. That's just me. So, but again, we want to make sure that the board is able to kind of process that. And Clarence, I don't know if you have a perspective on that, and Ken might as well. It's a tough environment when you're only just getting, particularly when you're working for, 5 individuals. Like that's tough.
The colonel has 5 generals. He's not number 1.
I don't have a military background. So yes, but I have seen it work and I have seen it out.
I agree with what he says, and a lot of it is, can you make that adjustment to where you have in effect 13,000 citizens who all think that they ought to be able to tell you what to do, and that you don't have that same hierarchy where, I'm a general, the colonel salutes and says, how high you want me to jump, sir? That's probably not gonna happen with county staff. It's not gonna happen with citizens, so it's more of the individual as opposed to a general statement that you have to. The decision you're making is an extremely important one because you get it right, you get a person that's gonna do a good job. You don't get it right, you're gonna be back doing this again sooner than you want to.
And that's what make us look bad. We don't
Yeah.
look bad either. So, someone with military background has actually spent some time then in local government. And just worked that, so that could be an asset as well. I would expect that we're gonna get candidates with military background. Senator Chairman, do you have a thought on that?
Yes, I agree with the comments that both of you have made here today. My experience has been that it could be problematic, it could be an asset. Really depends on what the board is looking for and the person, their personality. The biggest thing that I've seen is they may, be in their command and control structure. They pretty much report up into one person, and the biggest adjustment that I hear from those people is having to adjust for working with a board of either 5 members or 7 members. And, anybody that's going into this job, that's important that they are able to take instruction from the board as a whole and not individual board members. So I think with, pre-screening, they will be able to sort that out if anybody with a background in military applies for the position. They can match up the education level, the experience and everything else. And then if they make it to an interview with the board, that it'd be very important for you to assess them for the personality and how you think that they will work in a more collaborative environment versus an authoritative environment. So I think it could be good or negative.
All right, leadership styles. This is looking now. Who is the individual that you want to attract here? So this is where we're kind of getting into the, we call it personality traits. Personal traits, soft skills, some of which have already been mentioned. So it's kind of just throw that out there and get you on that.
Collaborative and problem solving are the first two that come to my mind.
Fair and honest. Open-minded. Treat everybody the same. Work with all the departments. Follow through with things.
That's a good.
He hit most of them. I mean, I was,
I'm just your second one. I'm sorry.
Open-minded. Oh,
I got collaborative and
What did I say that thing? I don't know. That came over.
it was great.
well,
I'll go back
everybody's
to it.
take.
I'll say it.
Stephanie.
I'll say it's on video. It's on video.
Wait, what did you write down?
Collaborative
Fair and honest, treat everybody the same.
No, you gotta go before that. Before that.
We'll come back to it.
All right.
Go ahead.
I missed it. I just didn't want to miss it.
He'll think of it. Think of something else, he'll come back to
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, about
Right.
9:30 tonight when you're laying in bed, that was it right
That's right.
there.
Send it out an email.
Concepts are no different than what we talked about. Yeah, we're good.
Problem solving.
Problem solving.
Yep. Nice work. Good girl. I knew you were here something. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie.
following through,
Whoever else helped you there.
following through with processes. I think that's a big thing.
Did you say open-minded?
Other traits.
Communication.
We would say something like, demonstrated strong communication skills, both orally and writing.
Yeah,
To a variety of audiences, we would say something like that, probably.
that's what we're paying you to do. Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I know.
Yep, I don't want to. That's sure the other desired characteristics, personal traits, attitudes, capabilities, demonstrated skills. Some of this has already been mentioned, but,
They gotta wanna be here. Not just punching a clock. I mean, they need to be here, they need to be involved in the community.
And contribute to the community.
Mhm.
what does that look like?
So involved and engaged.
Yeah.
Well, you want to see them show up, like talked about all these activities. You want to see them out in the community. That's a good point, Dave. That shows people you want to be here.
That's what Clarence has been doing. Ain't you, sir?
I need a travel agent. That's the way you find out about the community.
Yeah.
You learn the issues, the opportunities, challenges, meet people.
Yeah, because you can't be just listening to those who call you with the complaint. You've got to really be out there and experiencing and talking to the average person that you run into in food line or the baseball field or whatever. I mean,
That's what you said, it's hard to learn a community sitting in an office.
Yeah. You just gotta get out of your box.
And you'll see this as a draft, so.
Yeah.
That prompts something else. Right, so, thank you. That's very helpful to, we'll do background work, actually, we've already started doing background work a little bit, but, information is readily available to us. There'll be a history section, there'll be an economic section, there'll be an education section. You saw how it's kind of laid out in the Buchanan profile, and so the format will look the same. Of course, the information will be unique to the economics. So, and this will then help us flesh out much more directly to potential candidates, are you a good fit? This is what the board of supervisors said that they're looking for. Helps us and ultimately will help you later on kind of make that match. All right, so.
And then
Go ahead, sir.
notice that brochure or the Buchanan one, there was some pictures and stuff like that. The EDA just did a video type to promote Amelia industry, but I think there's some other pictures in that can be used.
Can we
I think-
take
I
from-
think staff can-
That's a question, we'll be asking, Clarence.
Staff can get that for you.
Yeah, well, staff.
This would be, digital quality.
I think there's some pictures from Amelia Day in there. and-
Yeah, I think staff has access to it.
And we've already started going through some pictures. Okay, great. Started that.
Not sure, but.
And then we'll give you some visuals.
Yeah, what
He's
you'll
been
see-
riding this Bronc. He knows where we're going. He's
What you'll
getting,
see is the initial first draft will be just a written document without the pictures.
Mhm.
And then, so was shooting for getting the profile.
I'm gonna go. through,
Okay.
yeah, Good.
We'll need to have the pictures by then, but not.
Yeah, I'll go through. Okay.
One thing, sorry, well, it just came to mind, one thing I don't think we really mentioned there, fact, is like the leadership for employees of the administration. So like people, being a good people manager and leader,
So developing staff.
yeah, developing staff. Like we talked about the getting thing, I think it was Todd mentioned the getting things done, but that's also then holding people, holding them accountable and as you said, developing them. I pulled your Buchanan one back up. I mean, I like this thing of role model and mentor for town employees, empowering and supporting them. Focus on performance and accountability while building a competent team. Actually, that's a really strong statement there.
Before that statement, get that in there.
I'm not saying you have to use it exactly, but I think we have a lot of employees that, want and desire, appropriately need some of that too. Talked a lot about us and citizens. I just think we hadn't really hit on employees.
All right, so my next job is to go, also, another question, this is making sure that, that we have appropriately managed expectations, but how the process will play itself out. And so I'll go over this, the current schedule, as we have it drafted. Primary board contact will be Chairman Phelps for the board, and then we'll be okay. We're gonna reach out to Clarence if and as we need to, just as a facilitator of information. So we'll make sure that we're not stepping on those. All board members get all information all at once. That's our preference, and it's always been my style, our career. So we're not anticipating any broader engagement with the community or with the workforce, so we're not planning to do surveys and public meetings. I guess this is just, we're not planning to unless you tell us that's what you want to do. The assumption that we're making there is that you have to figure ultimately through your connection, with your constituents. And that's just an assumption. Want to do something different, you let us know, we're going to build that in shape process. We're assuming that you're okay.
I had a town hall Saturday, and that was one of the questions I asked, and I got zero response, nothing. So,
The experience is most elected officials know what's going on
Yeah.
in their districts and whatnot. So, but again, we don't want to just put so many assumptions without checking. Thank you. Formal job description. You mentioned employee handbook is outdated. Maybe I should have been very bad on that one. Is there anything that you think is useful? This will be when candidates are saying, hey, can we see information? It's not, or maybe just a benefit sheet that we could include.
Yeah, we've got some things in the personal policy.
Yeah.
I can look and see if I can create something as a list of all the benefits I have.
I think that would be the place to start. I just remember when we talked about it, it's acknowledging that that might be a little stale.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it.
Well, that's better than going to the whole manual.
You
anyway,
want
so.
for it's what you're looking for is just a short list then of what those benefits are.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably a place to start. And
Okay.
we have candidates who are interested in more, which may not be likely, then we'll just engage with that. We just get benefits.
Sure.
I would imagine that fairly stated benefits. We talked about other positions or appointments that the county administrator will hold. We know that a member of the regional jail, juvenile detention, social services administrative board, the purchasing agent, and clerk of the board. Other things that we're not aware of, the emergency manager.
The chairman of the board is the coordinator, director of emergency management, right? We have a coordinator of emergency management, who does the day-to-day, but the chairman is the,
Thank you. Probably used that before. Okay, will the candidate be required to reside in the county? The current contract, your previous manager had a residency requirement. So, I think that's just a question.
I think, yeah.
Well, I would put it preferred, definitely.
It's hard to be in the community if you don't live in the community.
I think required, but you need to give them a transitionary time period.
Yeah,
That's what your contract says, 6 months.
I'd even be open to a year transition, depending on where they came from. So I mean, I think if you're advertising, I would say required to live in the county. When you get to hiring the person, then you can negotiate how long to make that transition. I agree, Dexter. I don't know how you say, I don't think it would go over well with many citizens if you said they live in Chesterfield, Dinwiddie, or something like that. I don't think that's gonna resonate. It's not gonna resonate with me.
Only had a residency requirement, I think, twice. I've never not lived in the community. You'd be a taxpayer.
Yeah.
So.
I think they would want to anyway, but I think it says a lot about us that we're saying it's a requirement too.
It is what your current contract says. So I just want to make sure that I am asking the question and get the answer.
Yeah, I'm speaking for me and I think Dexter feels the same way, but if anybody else disagrees.
I mean, you know, if he bought a piece of land and wanted to build a house and he found something to rent out of the county for time for it to get moved in, I'm like, that could be.
And I think that's what we could work. I agree. I think that would still meet the residency requirement. And then in the contract, we can work on that timeline to get there.
What we
Yeah,
want to do in the profile is manage expectations.
right.
So when candidates, are thinking about living in Chesterfield or whatnot, going, you need to change your expectations.
Yeah.
Based on our conversations with the supervisors and what they've said.
I think we need to change to 6 months though. Even as you're throwing the net out, because if somebody sees it and says, man, I'm gonna be moved into Amelia in 6 months.
Well,
I
they can see
can't.
that. They won't see the contract.
We would say with a transition period.
Okay.
You'd be paid. For instance, residency would be required after a transition.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of
Because
the.
you're not gonna get a house built in
Living
6 months.
Chesterfield's just right down the road.
Yeah.
The shopping centers is just down the road.
Probably less expensive. Oh, yeah, I would hope it's less expensive. Okay, I need to make sure that I got clarity on that. So we're all good.
Mhm.
Mr. Morris has a other opinion. To let somebody know. All right, sorry, Mr. Morris, I'm not, I'm
Be
just
shocked
trying
to get
to,
a different opinion on that.
just trying to keep you in mind that you're participating, but I can't see you.
Yeah, he's still listening.
Excellent, very good.
And it's a,
Thanks, sir. I'm doing very bad. Do you require a formal application or the way that our process works, right, we get the resumes, cover letters, but which you then at some point have them fill out a formal county app.
For every other position you do,
Yeah, so,
for the county.
so we would also do that in this case, but it doesn't really need to happen up front necessarily, just as, okay, I just want to make sure that we got it. Thank you. Resumes will be sent to my attention. How should local applicants' resumes from internal local candidates be treated? This is, that's always a hard example to kind of come up with, but let's say that we have someone who's related to someone who talks to you at church and the grocery store, says, hey, you know, my so-and-so's applied for this job and they're clearly not qualified. They don't meet the minimum qualifications. We would not assume that they would move into a different category. Unless that you're letting us know that, you know, we have some sensitivity to relationships in this community. We'd like to kind of have a look at all of those. So that's why I bring it up, is that I'm just letting you know that if you've got someone who's not qualified, we're not going to bring them forward for your consideration. You'll see it all, right? That's why I let you know that we're not going to create a separate category for special treatment.
I think that's the way, we hired y'all to do this and y'all do the screening and y'all come to us with the list of people. I think that's the only way around it. Everybody's treated fair from the get-go, and if they don't make a cut, they don't make a cut.
That's what we do. And I put you in a position, if somebody comes to you, you can say, hey, you submit your stuff. And if you meet minimum qualifications, which are high, real, because then, you know, we can consider it, but let the consultants then take it from there. That's how we would prefer to handle it.
The fairness is the key.
Yes, sir. Everybody is treated, you know, joke, you're going to treat people bad. But it's not the case. Okay, thank you. Okay, the timeline, we're meeting. We already had a phone call with the chairman. We can send out the information. We're meeting today. This is our first of 3 meetings with the board, ideally. We would expect to have a draft of the recruitment profile ready the week of October the 11th. So that's not next week, but the following week. And that'll be the narrative draft. You won't see the pictures, you'll see the words. That'll come to you. We'll ask for a fairly quick turnaround for you to kind of review and give us any comments that you have. Depending on what comments that you have, but there might be a back and forth, but that'll be with the whole board. To see if we can't, without me having to come back, us having to come back down here, having to kind of just resolve any, hopefully it's just like maybe some language issues or things that you forgot or whatever, it don't be controversial. But the quicker we get that turned around, then we then send it to the Berkeley Group home office. They make it look quick. And then at that point, we'll send it back to you for the final draft for you to give us thumbs up, and then it's ready to advertise immediately. We would expect to do that the week of October 21st. So you get the first draft, week of October 11th. We're hopeful we can get this on the street the week of October 21st.
Gentlemen, we meet on October the 16th.
We shouldn't have to come back to you.
If
Ideally, we won't have to come back to you. If in fact there's something in the profile that causes concern that you talk about, then, you know, we certainly would do that.
But we could talk about it at the meeting and give staff the okay, yes, send it on and okay. So we'll put that on the agenda.
We will allow 30 days for potential applicants to decide whether they want to apply for the job or not. Generally, there's a rush at the beginning and then there's a rush at the end. But we feel strongly, working group feel strongly to allow the full 30 days to get people. Circumstances change over that time. They may miss it the first time around. It'll be a pretty extensive placement. You'll get resumes from all over the place. So it gets pretty good traction out there in the appropriate places for people to look at this information. We think 30 days. So that'll be a quiet period for the board. Actually, it's a quiet period for us. After that 30 days, Ken and I then will scrutinize all of the interviews the resumes that we get. And we'll identify, and then we'll get some subset of, of candidates who do virtual interviews for like 30 minutes. From that, and then that'll be the week, that'll be between November the 25th and December the 6th. I know we're into Thanksgiving and stuff like that, so we're just gonna have to kind of plow through.
What's that date again?
November 25th through December 6th is what we anticipate being our Zoom interviews with selected candidates.
Thank you, guys.
We don't know how many we'll select. I've got 8 this week with the town of Grottoes. Got 11 next week for the town of Leesburg, so
Any of them real good?
yeah.
All right, we'll just bump them back to here.
Well,
Then we can save some time and
I
prep.
had conversations with candidates who are not successful in one spot that might be successful in another.
I just want to pick from the cream.
I've had some conversations with folks who are interested in this particular opportunity as well. So whether they're the best fit or not, we can't say. But yeah, we're pretty assertive in looking at, okay, well, maybe this opportunity isn't the best for you, maybe it's other than this. There's definitely some opportunity for that. We think that's part of what you get. You know, Berkeley Group it's not just Ken and I, but there's a lot of folks out there who are working different communities with different candidate pools. And we all are aware of what's going on. And so we can kind of steer candidates that we think are the two best fits and one best fit. But it's up to them to apply, but we all select. Okay. So the week of December the 16th, you've got a meeting that week. That's when we would expect to be back to the Board of Supervisors with our report. You'll get all of the information, however much that is, but you'll get a summary report from us that has the benefit of the interview that we did and some recommendation on groupings of candidates. So there'll be a top group, middle group, and the next group. And you can pick from that kind of who you, but that meeting is so you then can pick who you want to interview. We will then be scheduling them for an in-person interview with the board, probably in January. That's all that we put on here, Clarence, is January. But I think during Christmas.
You hear all the time, goes during the next 3 meetings, you're gonna,
Oh, during the meetings, all good. Yeah, all scheduled meetings I plan around, so.
Okay, so that's how we have.
Although I
it
did
laid out.
remember January, I told you, I think you need to look at just because of the way the calendar, not because of me, but the way the calendar falls, I think the January meeting is weird. I mean,
yeah,
because January, we've only had one full week of in the month because it starts oddly on like the first. This has nothing to do with, sorry, this has nothing to do with you
Yeah.
particularly.
I looked at that. Mike, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I think we can, but
Need a full day. Yeah, let's see.
but yes, it's not because.
14 days, likely gonna take you, a good full day. It'll be 14 days. We'll talk more about what that program looks like, but
Well, if we're gonna have a full day, you tell them one with a deep pocket, take us out to lunch.
I guess if somebody would bring lunch in. I'm not sure if I'm looking at parents and Mary Beth right now, but
We will make that happen. We'll make
Dexter's
it
will buy.
No, the candidates, one got the biggest pocket.
All right, well, that does bring up another question, is that if we have candidates that you decide are worthy of an interview, and they're coming from out of state, it is absolutely expected by them and the industry that you'll cover their costs. You'll cover their airfare, that you'll put them up in the night, you'll pay, reasonable expenses for meals, maybe rent a car. And this is important to kind of put that out there. So there's no surprises. We would have them bill that directly to the county so that Berkeley Group doesn't have to put its 5% on it. That's our recommendation. We don't really.
No, you're making enough now.
Yeah, well, at the end of this though, I mean, our goal is to make it worth the while. Say, yeah, we paid this money, but it was worth it. And we'll see. We're not.
That's what we're waiting to see.
We're a long way from.
That's
that.
right.
That's.
Believe me, we're watching that one.
Yeah. I'll.
And I think we're gonna do it as a,
If it's industry
as
standard.
needed though. But I mean, worry about it when you get there. I mean, it's not like we're gonna say no. You
We
know,
might not use it.
that's right. We might not have
You
to.
might, yeah, you might not. I'll say that with the town of Buchanan, this is a town of 1,300, very, very small budget. They had a very good candidate from Texas that they paid to bring that person in. That candidate finished number 2, but he was a great candidate. And if it wasn't for number 1, it would have been worth it. So it's just kind of going to play it out. So, yeah. We know that a post-offer pre-employment drug screening will be required. That's difficult. Compensation package. Okay, this is what we're going to talk about. We'll want to advertise for the salary. We're aware that your previous county administrator was 149.5. We also are aware that this is a really tough market because of your proximity to the Richmond region. So I can't just look at other rural, smallish counties and go, oh, well, that's what this job is for. That's really, really tough because of your location. I believe that your county school superintendent is upwards around 170 plus. I mean, that can be a measure, or it doesn't have to be. 180, 175. Okay. I'm saying this because I want to recommend what I think is reasonable to advertise. This is just for advertising. This is so that that the folks who want to get $200,000 know not to apply. And folks that will do it for $90,000 know that you're looking for somebody who has a little bit more experience. It's not, to me, it's not reasonable that you would. Well, I'll say it this way. I think your range is going to be around 125 to around 160. That's a good range. Part of that is that they're going to know what your previous county administrator was making, because that's public information. And if you have your range lower than that, then they may think that you're trying to hire somebody less qualified than your previous county administrator. That's not the signal you want to send. It doesn't mean that that's what your selected candidate is going to be working to negotiate that down to the road. 125 seems to be a kind of a reasonable party place. Again, there's no formal range. It's all a matter of kind of what feels good. So I'm just suggesting that what we put into as a hiring range is 125. That will eliminate some and will also attract some people. So it's a good range. So without objection, that's what we would do.
You can always go up. You can't come back down.
You can, but we're going to be asking candidates if they're satisfied with the upper end of the range. So, I mean, frankly, if someone's making 180, they want to come here. I'm going to have a serious conversation about what they're in for.
Well, we'll slow down a little bit.
Well, is that what you want?
Well, I'm talking about it's not the hustle bustle like it would be in Richmond versus here.
It's hiring place.
Pretty sure somebody wants to come here and kick back,
I
do their job and.
I wouldn't have a problem with that if they wanted, if they're 5 to 8 years and we would get the experience.
You may get some of that.
I actually don't see that as a problem necessarily. I would trade off that experience and if we got 5, 6, 7 years.
Get what you pay for.
Are you okay with 160 as an advertised?
Yeah, I am.
Part of this also is what you communicate.
I think we have to trust your
I
advice.
think it's reasonable in the market.
Okay. That's,
So, Jim, any thoughts on that?
No, sir. We talked about that's this morning. For the right candidate, you may have to later, if you decide that you just can't afford the right candidate that you want, you can always go up a little bit, but the important thing is that you get them to apply. Like you were talking about before with may and preferred and words like that, it at least gets the right candidate to the table so you can have that conversation if you feel good about that person.
Yeah, you good. Other common aspect of compensation, which I know were addressed in different ways within the contract. We would be again appropriately vague, but a vehicle allowance is typical. a severance of some type is difficult for people making that commitment. We don't have to be, we won't be specific about any of that, just kind of lets them understand the conversations that the board is going to have. In the fact that they receive top candidate. And everything else would generally would leave, the IRS, it may or may not be current IRS members, whatever, we'll just have to figure that one out. But health insurance, leave accrual would be at the rate of other county employees generally, unless it comes to where they negotiate something else, like a pre-planned vacation or a leave bank or some things that we may have done in the past. Moving expenses is another one where the county might talk about. Not a bad one-time investment, if in fact that's a deal closer for a candidate that you want. Okay. That's what I had. What did I miss? I think I hit that one pretty good. Mr. Chairman, I have gone through my script and my list of questions. Glad to entertain any other comments from members. I want to say the meeting. We're very, very grateful for the opportunity and the proof will be in the pudding, Robinson. So whether we're getting value or not, so we're going to work hard. We're going to work hard to continue value. Our job is to put good candidates in front.
And
we need.
I'm confident you would do that. I think we made the right choice. I'm happy with the way today went. We kind of set the parameters and we'll see it again in a couple of days and we'll start the process and put it out there.
I feel like everybody's looking for the same thing.
Were you?
Oh, no, no.
Oh, I thought you were, I thought you wanted to make a comment. I shouldn't have skipped over you.
All right, well, thank you, sir. Gentlemen, thank both of y'all.
Very good discussion.
Thank you.
Does anybody on the board have anything else we need to continue? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion on the floor to adjourn to continue meeting. All in favor, raise your hand. Benji? Did he vote?
Yeah, I see his hand raised right
All
there.
right.
I think he's asleep.
All righty.
That was good. Thank y'all.
You all